Models are a way that in our Django project we can talk to our database. So let's start off by making sure our virtual environment is activated. I'm going to start creating a new Django project using Django admin start project, and we'll call it my first ORM. Now we can cd into my first ORM, and we can see all the things that were created. Let's open it in Visual Code, and we can see the files. I'll come back to my terminal, and I'm going to create a new app called Movie App. Now we can see it pop up here. Anytime you add a new app, it's important to go to your settings and add it to your installed apps. So now that we do that, we can start actually making models. If we go open the app, it comes with a models.py file. And this is where we're going to be putting our models. A model will represent a table in our database. So let's create a movie model. I'm going to get this model definition over here. So movie inherits from models.model. And this is important because it's going to come with some built-in things. For example, there is an implicit ID field that you don't have to worry about creating anytime you create a new model. It just comes with it. Then we can add different fields. So our movie has a title, which is a char field, has a description, which is a text field, release date, date time field. And these are going to correspond to the columns in our database. So after we do that, we can make migrations. So I'm going to go to the terminal, Python manage.py, make migrations, and we'll see that it created a migration that will end up creating our new model. After we make migrations, we have to migrate, and it applies all the default migrations as well as the initial one that we just created. Let's start interacting with it in our shell. Within the shell, we can import from movie app.models, import movie. Now we have access to that movie object, and we can query it. Throughout this section, you will learn a lot of different ORM commands, one of which is movie.objects.all. This will query our database for every movie instance we have. We can also create a new movie, movie.objects.create, and send in all of the fields that we want to use, all of the values, when we create this new movie. Let's say there's a title equals A Few Good Men. The description will equal a good movie. Release date, this is going to be formatted in a specific way, but let's just send in a string. It's 1992, I'm not sure exactly when. And then duration is an integer field, so let's just say it was 2 hours, 120. So don't worry about this error message for the date time for the time being. But notice we didn't have to put in an ID, and we didn't need to put created at and updated at, because the created at and updated at will automatically be created when we create a new instance using these auto now add equals true and auto now add arguments. After we do this, we can now query our database again, movie.objects.all. And we see a query set that includes one new movie object. If I wanted to get the first instance, I could do something like this, movie.objects.all.first. And that will give me the actual instance. I could also just write movie.objects.first. Now, it looks a little weird because it's just movie object, but we can actually look at it in a little bit more detail using movie.objects.first.dict. And this will be a representation in a dictionary And we can see title is the key, A Few Good Men. Description, a good movie. We could also overwrite the method def repr that takes in self, and this is essentially overriding the model's toString method. Return title. Let's just return the title dot format self dot title. So anytime I make this change, let's see what happens since I saved it and I go first. It still looks like that. So I have to exit the shell and re-enter from movie app.models import movie. Now if I do movie.objects.first, it will return what I asked it to, which is title, A Few Good Men. There are a lot of different things you can do with models and a lot of different ORM commands, but these are the basics, and make sure as you go throughout this section, you practice a lot of these commands because they're going to come in handy.